In this video, we'll talk about render method. So a render method is a method that tells the component which template to load based on some condition. But till now, we have used only a single HTML file in our component, but it is possible to add multiple HTML file in a component. Okay. So render method tell which HTML to load based on some condition basically. It always returns the template reference. Template reference is nothing, it's just the which template to load. Okay. The key point to remember here is the renderer method is not technically a lifecycle hook. That's why I bring this topic separately. And it is a protected method on the lightning element class. Second point to remember is call this method to update the UI. It may be called before or after the connected callback. Okay. And the third point to remember, it is rare to call render in a component. The main use case is to conditionally render a template. But now the many people ask this question, right? If you already have if true and if false directive to conditionally render the component, why we need render method? So to answer that question, we have another slide. So if true and if false is recommended when there is a small template to hide and show, right? Ideally, it's always recommend to break down your component into a smallest unit. And whenever we have a scenario in which we have a same business logic, but we want to render a component with more than one look and feel, we go with the render method. And whenever we have two design in same component but don't want to mix the HTML in one file, or we don't want our HTML file to be of 2000 lines, it's always good to divide your HTML into different HTML files. Okay, so let's go and see how it works. So I'm in my VS Code now. I'll clean all the files and now let's create a component. I'll say render method is my component name. So here is my render method component. And first thing, to use the render method, we need to use multiple HTML file. Okay, so let's create HTML file. First HTML file I'll create sign in template.html. It can be any name, right? Your one name should be same as the your component name for the HTML file. So we already have a render method.html. Now I'm creating two another templates. One is sign in template.html. Another one is sign up template.html. So now we have two templates. Okay, and now we want to first add something inside the template, and in LWC each template start with a template tag. I'll copy paste the same tag here. I'll say first h1 I am signing and I'm sign up. I guess this template is sign up, and I'll copy paste the same code and paste inside the sign in template. I'll say I'm sign in. Okay, now we import the reference actually. So the term we were using in the slide, the reference. So we are taking the reference of the component. Our component name is sign in template, not the component name, the template name actually. And we want to import it from sign in template.html. Here the extension is important. Same thing we want to import for sign up as well. So I'll say I have a sign up template reference and the path is sign up template.html. And now the third part we want of this our existing HTML file that is coming by default with a component, that is, we'll say import render method or render template. I'll say from the path is render method.html. Now I have all reference of all three HTML files now, right? Now as I said, render method help us to render the HTML conditionally. So first create the render method. Like our lifecycle hook, we also have the render as a keyword or the method as a keyword, I would say. So don't give any custom method name as render. Okay, and now it will return always a reference of the template. So if I say sign in template, it will load the sign in template. If I say sign up template, it loads the sign up template, right? So let's load the by default template right now, that is the render template, and let's add something here as well. I'll say, hey, I am default template, and let's add some meta file. I'll replace this meta file, making it visible and giving the target lightning app page. Let's deploy this. So till now we haven't done anything specific. We have just created 3 HTML template, and in the JS file we are just loading the default template, that is render template. Let's go to our page in the org and edit the page. Let me close my console, search for the render method, and that is the component name, and hit save. Let's go back. Now you will see it will show a text like I am a default method or default template. So here you can see it's printing, hey, I am a default template. Let's add some styling as well. But here the point I want to prove is you can add the reference and return the template reference with the render method, and it will load that HTML on the screen. If I give the reference of sign up, it will load that particular reference. Now here I have a requirement. I have a page with the sign up and sign in, right, form, and I want to render it based on a button click. Okay, and to do that, let's start styling our component first. So first style should be with our main template, and for the main template you already know first thing will always start with our lightning card, and within the lightning card you already know we have to add some margin, slds variable margin, and I can give the margin around of size medium. Now we have the div. Now these are the classes you already seen in the CSS. I'll give some heading as well to my component. I'll say I already have given the heading to the card, but now I'm giving a text heading specifically. Okay, I'm saying choose your options. Okay, choose your option, and I want to show this in a little bit bigger font, and we already have a class for that, that is slds text heading medium. So that class is slds text heading medium, and we want to give some margin bottom as well. To do that, I can copy paste the above class again. I'll change around to bottom. So instead of giving around, I'm giving some bottom margin so that my text will get some space below it, right? And now I want two buttons to be there. So we already know how to create button. Button will take variant. Variant is giving the default style. So I'll say destructive. There is a variant you can see in the library. And then the label I want to show on the button is sign up. And apart from that, title I can give sign up. And apart from that, I need a handler here. So I will say on click, I'll give a method handle click. And below this, I can give some left margin because I'm gonna place another button and I don't want those two buttons to be stick together. I'll say slds margin left extra small. Here we were giving medium size, here I'm giving a small size, and it's a left size, not the bottom one. Okay, I'll close the button. I'll copy paste the same button below, and I'll keep the handler same. I'll change the variant to success. I'll change the label to sign in and title to be sign in. I'll keep rest of the thing as it is. So right now I have a handler, and the handler I want to add it into the JS file. So on click of the button, I want to call this handler, And on click of this, what I'm gonna do is I'll create first a property here that will store what is the label. I'll say selected button. Initially it's empty. I can initialize it with empty string, and I can say this dot is selected equal to, and here every click will receive event as a feedback. So I'll say event dot target dot label, and in the label, not here, will receive an event, and from the event we'll extract the label, and the label is nothing that is sign up and sign in, right? So that we are storing into the selected button. And now as we talk, render method display the template based on the condition. So what we're gonna write here is we'll check if this dot selected button equal to your text sign up. I'm using a ternary operator. If it is equal to sign up, then load the sign up template. Otherwise, check this dot selected button equal to sign in. So if he has clicked the sign in button, then load the sign in template. Otherwise, load the default template, that is render template. So first time when the component loads, selected button is empty, it loads the render template. As soon as you click on any of the button that is available on the render method.html, whether it's a sign in button or sign up, immediately the selected button will receive that label, and the render method automatically update that template. Okay, let's deploy this and see how it works. So now I refresh the page. Now you can see we have a text h1, the h2 we use in the HTML, then we have sign up button with destructive variant and success variant for sign in button. So right now it's load the default template. If I click on sign up, it should load the sign up template. Say I'm a sign up, right? But we don't have any other option on the sign up page, so I can't go back. So let's create the form quickly on the sign up page as well. Let's go our render method component and sign up template. And on the sign up template, we're gonna create the form. First, we're gonna create the card. We can copy paste the same thing from here. For sign up template, save, and I'll say lightning card. Then same thing we can copy paste in the sign in page as well. I'm pasting it same here as well. Okay, so first thing what we're gonna do is we're gonna add some heading as well. Instead of this h2, we'll copy this h2 and come to the sign in page, and I'll change the text only. I'll say sign in form, and in the sign up form also I'll paste the text and I'll change this to sign up form. So the text will be visible there. Now apart from that, we want something, some input fields on our form, right? So I'll just use this, and then I can add some lightning input. And that of type text, and I can give some label. I'll say first name. I'll close this. I'll copy paste this below as well, 3 or 4 times I can say. So I'll say the another text type, last name. Then I can change the type to email. It should be small, type name should be small, and I can say email address. Apart from that, we can, in sign up, we can ask password. So type should be password and the label should be password. Apart from that, we can create the button. I'll go to the HTML. We already created the buttons. I'll copy paste or both the buttons in the sign in template, and Let's the color and all everything remain same, and I'll say label to be back, and back, let's keep the handler name different because we have only one JS file, so I'll change it to submit handler. And no, this should be, we can keep it as a handle click, because on back of the but click of back we want to send something to my handle click as well, right? And on that I'm passing the back text. Okay, so if I click back, it automatically go back to the render template, right? Because that's not equal either to sign up or sign in. So I'll call the handle click on back button, and on success I can call that success handler here in my JS file. I'll say console.log sign in successfully. Okay. Similarly, for the sign up page, okay, this we just wrote the sign up code. I'll copy paste the whole code. In sign up, usually we ask for this sort of thing. I'll change it to sign up form. So in sign up, we ask first name, last name, email, and password. But in sign in, we're gonna remove the first name and the last name. Just give me the email address and the password. And the button is sign in here. And in the sign up, we'll say sign up. I can keep the same handler you can create based on your thing. Okay, and in the JS file, what I'm gonna do is I'll again use the same event, and I'll say I'll use a string interpolation. If you click sign up button, it will print sign up successfully. If you click sign in button, it will print sign in successfully, because the label is sign in and the sign up, right, for submit handler. Let's deploy this and see how it behaves. So here if you see, we have two forms. They have the same logic, like you have to submit it, take the data and submit it, but the HTML is pretty long. For sign up, it's a different form, sign in, it's a different form. So then in that sort of scenario, you can use a render method. Okay, so let's go and refresh the page. So now if I click on sign in, it's coming to the sign in page. Okay, and if I open this, my inspect element, and click on sign in, you can see it's printing sign in successfully. So this is how you are using the single JS file from different HTML. And now if I click on back, it's going back to the normal state. Now if I'm clicking sign up, you will see sign up button, and if I click sign up button, you will see sign up successfully. Validation and all other things you can change, or you can write that code, but you see the form is also changing. Now in the sign up we have 4 fields, in the sign in we were having the 2 fields. So this is how our render method works, and we already seen how we can create it, and I already explained you why we prefer render over if else or if true or if false directive. And we very rarely use this hook, but at least you should know how it works, how it behaves. And whenever you have such a big scenario in which your template is going above certain length and you want to flip the templates, you can use the render method. So that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next video.